That sounds great. Great, thanks, Nav. Yep, so we've reached the top of this feature, and so we're going to spend the rest of the time just exploring it. Looks like we have some more Madrepora and a nice big sponge here. And maybe we can get a zoom on the white scleractinian hard coral that's to the 9 o'clock position, just to make sure that that might be Lophelia. We haven't really seen too much of that today yet, but
if you want lasers
if
on
it's anything like yesterday, this is where we'd find it.
Okay, or for targeting.
Come on in, video. That white.
Yes, that's Lophelia. Great. Right on cue. Huh. Beautiful.
Yep.
So Cheryl, maybe you could help me. I can't tell the difference between this and what you were calling Analopsamia earlier. So what are the characteristics?
What is it?
Yeah, so the Analopsamia has the calyx is kind of really raised, and it's easier to tell when there's not a polyp in the calyx, and then the septa are really kind of nondescript in Analopsamia, and it looks just kind of like a cup with not much structure inside. And if you look at the Lophelia calyx, they'll have large exert septa. They'll have these plate-like things that are sticking out all the way around. So it's easier to see when the coral is actually dead, but even just the pattern of branching of where the polyps occur, the Analopsamia, they stick kind of straight out to the sides, and they're really kind of even as they go up, and the Lophelia kind of branch back and forth, a little bit of a kind of a lazy zigzag, not as zigzaggy as the Madrepora, but that kind of a pattern, not branching out straight out to the sides, but kind of alternating.
We can come wide before you dial.
Excellent, thank you.
Sure.
And you were just saying the zigzagging Madrepora, so that's what that orangey brown one is just behind it to
Exactly.
the right.
Yeah, so that's a great pattern comparison right there. The Madrepora is very zigzaggy when you look at how the polyps are growing in relation to each other. And as we saw yesterday, there's just a very high stand of dead coral framework up here.
Ooh,
what's that?
There we go.
I think it is a squid. Just coming into the center now. Ooh.
Looks like another dumpling squid, similar to the one the other day.
Wow. This one's a kind of more blue color compared to the purplish.
Well, they can change their skin color really easily. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
That would be handy.
Well, they're living in the dark, so I'm not really sure why it's handy, but...
So they don't just sit on soft sediment. They'll sit on, well, coral rubble, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, but for any of these deep-dwelling ones, we don't really know that much. And I think from, you know, some of the highlight videos I've seen from previous dives, and of course the one that we saw like this the other day, we have seen them frequently on soft sediment, but...
Yeah, that's what I've seen in the New England canyons area. We saw most of them on soft sediments. This guy looks like he's sleeping. Either that or he's just hiding.
Yeah, he's possibly wishing that he was on soft sediment so he could wriggle his body underneath and hide.
How adorable.
Yeah, it doesn't look like we have any of the other cephalopod people on the chat today. I'm not really good at identifying this group of cephalopods, so.
It's kind of like gusty. Let's come out.
Were those
Get lasers on it real quick.
Bathopsamia?
Yeah, those
So like cup corals?
orange
Did you say
cup corals
dirty or
Okay.
dusty?
could be
Gusty.
Bathopsamia.
Oh, gusty. Sorry, they said dirty.
Yeah.
Wow, you get an idea how tiny he is now.
Oh yeah.
Alright. We can lose lasers. Thanks, Andy. You're doing
You
a
got
great
it.
job, by the way.
Thank you.
Can you, I think one of the wings is
Yeah, but I
inboard.
thought we already
Can
passed
you bring
400
the port
meters.
wing outboard?
Sure. Before I do that, Nav, can you see how my kind of got some light over there? Can you see how my nip looks over there on the port side?
Looks like we have more
Yeah,
the
just
white
on the rail cam
Ophelia
there.
here.
Oh, rail
I
cam.
can't. It's kind of blinded from this angle right now.
Pilot's video.
What do you want to view?
Go ahead.
Is it
I
far
believe
enough
your
off that
left
box
wing
to
may
bring out?
be inboard or
Yes,
something. I'm
that
seeing
is.
a lot more
Yeah.
of
Yep.
that
I'll
than I
keep an eye on
normally
it.
do.
Yep,
Okay,
I
I'm
just,
gonna bring it out right now.
Yep. I got eyes.
just asked Andy to fix that.
Now that Ophelia really stands
Port
out,
wing
doesn't
coming
it?
out
Yeah,
forward.
there's more Madrepora on the left there.
Oh, it might be too. I might
No,
need
you're
to
good.
lift that.
You
Okay,
didn't
still
touch
going?
it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's tucked right behind it. You're
I
good.
still got some more to go, I think.
All right,
I
you
think
got
that's
eyes.
all the way, but you can push it.
Okay. Well, now we
Quite
have
an
it.
impressive view here.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
There's quite a bit more Madrepora at the top of this one
Yeah.
compared to yesterday.
But still no bamboo corals, at least certainly not like yesterday's
Yeah.
top of the mound.
And then pilots, after this, once you
The fish here.
Did you say no bamboo coral?
I said not,
What were you saying,
well,
Nav?
I didn't
you
say,
say once
no,
we're done
not
here
as
at this
much.
end, you just go
They're
north
not king of the mound.
I-
to complete our first.
That wasn't a criticism.
sig.
I just didn't hear you.
Uh,
We're seeing lots and lots of the bamboo coral cladorisis, but we're not seeing those larger corallina
That's
ones.
what I meant.
Right,
yeah.
so the little frilly ones, right? That's the cladorisis.
Yeah, there's a
Laemonema
pencil
melanorum.
urchin tucked away in the back there.
Let's do a snap right here, Roland. Come in.
It's also kind of interesting. I think Chuck Messing was asking about this a couple of dives ago. We saw, one of these possible unbranched Neurella, and we collected a piece of it, and then we saw one of these fluffy primnoid colonies a short time ago, but just one of each. And yet, some of these other species, there's so many. And it's a real mystery to try to solve why you see these sorts of patterns in different species.
Yeah, you have to wonder the lone rangers out here.
Alright, let's come out.
Is that a Plumarella or Caligorgia there in the center?
You can lose the skids.
And that fish that swam by was Laemonema melanorum. Thanks for that, Andrea.
Okay, pilot Nav has our next move going north.
Less common here than
So-
yesterday.
To my rear.
Yeah, we definitely
Yep.
saw more of them
Uh-huh.
yesterday.
Okay.
Those are, the common name is the reef
And I'll start
codling.
turning. Keep you
So
in
maybe
view.
we've just reached the actual
Yeah,
reef.
and then when you're lined up, we can just push north, the ship north, and then just
Great.
repeat the process.
It's a great overhead view of
We have
the
about an
top
hour
of
and
this
10
feature.
minutes left.
Okay.
We're just going to use all that, just zigzagging.
That is quick.
So you're gonna have to stay pretty close to me, Andy, because the tether's gonna want to get up in your face.
Okay, I can drop down.
Andrew says that they
Or
call
wait,
it
what do you
the
mean
I can
coral
push the.
hake. And it's often
You can
seen
like back
in
up, or I can
Ophelia
push the ship
If the-
forward too.
If the current's coming
reefs in
from
this region.
behind us,
That's a good name for it,
then
Yeah.
based on where we see it.
the tether's gonna get pushed up into your face, so you have to stay higher to keep Sirius from wrapping it around itself.
Sure.
I think you're good
I
because
think-
its
I
current's
think-
more
yeah.
off to starboard.
I think
so
it's just going to take it off there.
yeah. Coming back down.
All right, I'm ready for that move too because he's pretty
Yeah,
far
we're
out
good.
there.
Great. I'll do 30 meters due north.
Yes, Les, I'd say it isn't too abundant, so
Hey,
yep, you're
Gilbert.
right.
Hey, ready for a minute?
Let's hope that
Sure.
stays that way and we don't wind
Gotta
up
get the
having a
swimmer rolling
fishery
real quick.
based on this coral hake.
Okay, due north,
So we have about an
30
hour left in
meters,
the
speed
dive
decimal 2.
Some way.
to explore the
That's-
top of this feature.
You're getting far out there.
And we're going to kind of zigzag back and forth across it. Looks like we have a bunch of, wow,
to
really
the
big
right.
Lophelia or
Maybe if we
something on
look
the
over
right.
to the right.
Wow.
ROV nav
Oh,
bridge
yeah.
move
Wow.
initiated.
So yeah, so it looks like there's a little dip in the center of
Look
this
at that.
feature.
Did you give me a 30 meter or a 20 meter?
I give you
Looking-
30,
Cool. Okay.
and then that should put you pretty much in the middle. 30 is gonna put you, yeah.
So I wonder if that's about as tall as D2 is,
So
that mound.
help me keep an eye on my tether and make sure we're not whacking the swing arms or anything like that, Andy.
Copy.
So this kind of thing we saw yesterday as well, where there were these kind of mounds of Lophelia on the top.
Living coral sitting on top of the mounds of the dead coral.
Right.
Yeah. Much more open framework, taller,
I'm not going to be able to give you any
greater
more.
relief than what we've seen towards the greater depths, the lower parts of this overall mound here that we've been climbing all day.
Yeah, well, actually, we're just waiting for the ship to move here. We're sort of looking downslope a little bit, so.
Roger that, thanks. And for those at home, the ship is making a bit of a move, so we're just holding station here, getting settled.
I guess I could turn and face the other way.
We have been fighting and working with the Gulf Stream all day.
And the Gulf Stream actually changed our dive location today from our first choice, right?
Yep.
So we wound up
Coming back
trying to
towards
get a
it.
little bit east of it.
Okay, be careful with that swing arm.
Yeah,
I
we're
don't
on the
have
outer
good
edge of the main axis,
perception of
which
distance there.
seems to migrate certainly
Yeah, that'll be safer.
in the course of days. Maybe not
Yeah,
every
it's
day
not
we see a
that
big
close.
shift,
Okay.
but we've been monitoring the Gulf Stream since we left port over a week ago from Charleston. And it has definitely shifted
Can we zoom in on
its
the
main
ship
axis.
there, Sean?
Yeah. Just on the ship, or
Well, just on. I can't get us. Yeah, that's fine. Just hard to see.
yeah.
It's quite a stark difference between this mound and the one next to it.
Yeah, seriously. Big gully in between.
Man, that layback's coming out fast.
This one doesn't even have as much coral rubble on the top.
So we lost the stereo setting?
Or that it has
we
been
didn't lose the serious set. Oh, you're talking about here?
filled in by sediment
I
deposition.
don't know.
So either way,
I'm
it
gonna look at
appears
it
that
after.
there's lower current locally
After
on
the
this
dive.
mound than the one
It
next
could
to
have
it.
been anything. But it looks like it didn't get carried over after the fault this morning. By the way, if that ever happens, the hardware settings are on the desktop. So if you close survey out, load the hardware up, you'll have them again.
Yes, it looks like Sirius is starting to move. According to high pack, she's only moved about 5 meters so far.
Might have also taken
ROV
out
nav
some of
bridge, move complete.
might have also taken out some of that layback because I was noticing I was getting a lot closer to
We're
ground.
still trying to
quickly.
get
Yeah, we're down to 160.
Get
Last I
settled
checked, we
after
were
a ship
170.
move.
Yeah, but
So-
a lot went there.
and we're at the highest point
That
of this
fish
feature
back
that
there
we've been
got
climbing all
something in
day.
it. Something white.
And it seems to vary quite a bit depending
What
on
fish?
where you look.
I hear you very well, my score.
Don't know what you're looking at, Roland.
I've got some more
crab, I
octocorals here
think, on
coming
it.
up. I think that will make a
I
lot
don't
of
know what
people
you're
in the
looking
chat room happy.
It's that swinging thing just right of center.
Oh,
Yellow,
do you want the lasers on, pilot?
long stock now at the bottom of the screen.
I don't think you can get out there anyway.
Yeah, pilots, we're going to stack on another move that direction.
Sure.
Great.
Looks like
yeah.
another anthomastus in the lower left. Possibly a small glass sponge and
Much
maybe
better, Gene. I can hear you well.
a squat lobster.
Yeah, come on in, Roland.
Bridge over.
Is this what you're looking at?
Oh, look at that, a pycnogonid. And that looks like a hydroid
Yep,
that it's
30
on.
meters. Due
Pycnogonid
north
is a
at
sea
decimal
spider.
2 knots.
And I don't know if folks in the chat room were seeing this, but yesterday we saw a hydroid similar to this, and we noticed little white dots close to the center stalk. And you can see them there too. I don't know if anybody has seen that before or knows what that might be.
ROV nav bridge, move initiated.
Might be some little amphipods on that as well.
I can't see the dots well enough to know what they are, but you know, maybe there are some specialized reproductive polyps. Certainly, some colonies of hydrozoa distribute the labor, where some polyps will be feeding and some will be reproductive. And I suppose it's possible that the reproductive ones are isolated to the center of the stock. Cheryl, there was another taller structure just in the distance as we go forward to the right, and I'm not sure I recognized it based on everything else I've been seeing today.
Okay, taller. Oh, a little bit off in the distance there.
Pilots, definitely for this
Yeah, we
live
haven't
interaction, you
talked to it
guys
yet, so no
will
hurry, I
not
just
want to
wanted
be
to alert you
listening
to
to my
Okay,
line.
I think the pilots are on it.
I'll key up when I need to talk to you guys.
Yeah, it looks kind of like a bottle brush.
Same as always.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Crazy Gorger, maybe? Let's come on in, Roland.
Ooh, that's beautiful. Is that a chrysogorgid of some type?
Give me 8 seconds.
Okay, that's right. We have a better view. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Certainly is looking like a chrysogorgia. So that would be another type of octocoral. I don't think we've seen any members of that family today.
And it looks like there might be a little associate at the top, a Europtychus chirostylid gastropod, or Galathean maybe.
Yeah, and those Europtychus are certainly very common in chrysogorgia colonies that are somewhat deeper. That has to be what this is. I don't know what species it is. It's interesting that it's very tall,
Yeah.
but the side branches are relatively short, which is what's giving it that bottle brush appearance.
Yeah, because they're usually shorter and rounder, correct?
He's saying that that's a nice chrysogorgia. He knows the species of chrysogorgia better than I do. We'll see if he's able to say anything further.
Did you see that?
And if there
Nice
is...
new observation for the day, though.
Yeah.
I think we saw any gorgids yesterday.
No, I don't think so.
Good lasers.
And if there is interest in collecting the top of this, we could get the associate
believe
as
they're
well,
on.
possibly. So
Come
let
out a
us
little
know.
bit. They're probably on the...
Yeah. Well, that was... Oh, okay, yeah, they were on the little lip there.
Yeah, let's come on out.
Yeah, pilots, ship is moving north, so based on high pack, Sirius should have moved enough to, if you want to swing back to get to that other slope.
hard reading on sonar there.
Yeah, it's coming back.
Ooh, coming back fast.
Wow. And on this side, we have a huge wall of Lophelia.
That's a pretty view.
That's quite
Great
impressive.
landscape shot.
Yeah. Very impressive.
Cheryl and I have to select a frame grab from, well, several frame grabs to characterize the seabed through the dive. And this be a good near surface shot.
Yeah, we usually wind up with about 4 times as many as we can use.
At least.
At least. There's so many great pictures that come from all of this. It's so hard to choose. I don't know if that's one of the Africalistes sponges in the center, the tall cylindrical sponge.
Come on in, Roland.
And we're at 720 meters now. You can see lots of these little cup corals behind the sponge, and that's definitely Lophelia, which is the white stony coral. We have a glass sponge behind that. We have maybe a Plumerella octocoral on the upper left and lower left. Oh, and lots of Plumerella like on the left side here.
ROV nav move complete.
I wonder if that sponge there is a bigger, older version of the one we saw earlier in the dive. We were kind of curious about that had a chimney that was really distinct from the base, and it may be that it just hadn't grown as much as this one had.
Yeah. Oh, and another pancake urchin. So again, you can see that this coral skeleton just makes an incredible condo for all sorts of other organisms to live in.
We can kill lasers.
So they get the shelter of a strong structure, framework of the coral skeleton, and they get off the seafloor. Lots of orange cup corals here. And compared to the soft sediment that we traversed before, you can also see there's most likely a lot more food here, both coming by in the current and then just looking around. Another Anthomastus or Pseudoanthomastus or two, the red octocorals. Looks like a couple different types of cup corals here. The one on the pinkish one on the lower right might be a Javania. But again, those are very hard to tell until you can take a look at them under the microscope, tell the species.
Come out just a little bit.
Lots of small bamboo corals. Wow, look at all that. Oh, and a madrepora at the bottom. Gosh, that's quite a
full
view.
wide.
Copy.
Amazing amount of
You
coral.
want to turn on the still cam, co-pilot?
It's a field of dreams for someone who's looking for Lophelia.
Yeah, seriously.
Lophelia dreams.
Yeah.
You can turn on the fog lights if you want.
What camera do I pull up to see the stills, what they're taking?
It says still cam.
No. On here?
I believe so, yeah. Or maybe RV still, or...
Oh, okay, cool.
And you wonder who's living down at the base of all this.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's
Oh,
great.
looks
Yeah,
good.
really.
Wildlife's coming on.
Have found habitat beneath what we can see.
They have an
Oh,
armored
okay.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks good.
Looks great.
There's another Lamanima on the left coming up. Coral hake. You can see the black tips of the fins.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah, they're quite an attractive fish. And the orange cup corals are most likely Bathopsamia, very common in this area.
Got the fish.
Yep. You got him in the still cam.
Yeah. Okay, it's coming out, Rowan. Alright, we can kill the still cam for now.
Great view of the coral hake.
Fog lights on or off?
We can take them off.
All right, pilots, and then at this point, we'll probably look whatever's left north, and then we can do a short move after that west, and then make our way back down south.
Okay.
Lots and lots of that
It's just like a
Bathopsamia
drop off.
orange cup coral.
Over there.
And the
I don't see
Duva
anything
florida,
on sonar.
which is the kind of pinkish brown soft coral that we've seen a lot. Ooh, and that's quite a pretty pancake urchin there, with a star shape on its back.
Back up.
Wow,
Yeah, so that's about our edge there.
lots
then.
of
See the
eels in the
tether
distance
either.
there.
Starfish.
Yeah, I can't.
This
do
looks
that
more
right
like a
now, Rowan.
moonscape than a reef.
You know, if I turn too much, that tether's gonna come slamming into my face.
Yeah, I'm trying to back up to you.
Okay.
And Les Watling and Scott
All right,
France have
so you
been
wanna go
talking
west
about
now?
the Clatorisis,
Yeah, just a
which
bump
is
west
the
and then come
wispy
back down
bamboo
south.
coral that we've been seeing
And then
all
just
over here.
repeat that
Right,
And
cycle.
they're saying
gonna
that
come
they
down again.
think that this could be Clatorisis fuchsii here.
Yeah, I think you're mixing up two different observations there, Cheryl.
Oh,
So
sorry.
The fuchsii is for the Chrysogorgia.
Oh, okay.
Unless it's just
And
straight down south,
the
then we can
reference
cheat
to Clatorisis is
just
from
south.
off Bahamas, a little bit deeper than here. The one known species of Clatorisis, Clatorisis nuvanier, that's where it was collected, and fuchsii is also down there.
Right,
so I
so
think he's
that's west.
comparing the
Okay,
habitat.
lining up on you.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'll note that comment I wrote earlier, making the suggestion about a collection of the wispy stuff. This Clatorisis that we're seeing here is unidentified. This is not
Copy that.
Nuvanier.
Maybe let's
Now,
cheat
it's possible
a little
that
bit.
we have samples
Yeah, like
of it, 'cause
245.
we have
Does that work?
samples
Yeah.
of
Great.
Clatorisis
I'll do 30
from
meters.
approximately this area,
Well,
but we
I'll
don't
wait for you
have
to travel a
the
little.
in-situ
Then
imagery
I'll
to
do 30
know.
meters at 245.
Yeah, you
The
can put that
opportunity
move in.
presents itself
Yeah,
at the very
sounds
end.
good.
It's certainly worthy of a collection, but I would wait until we saw if there's anything else more.
Okay. And something that is pretty interesting, this looks like our first Liopathes of the
This is
day
Bridge over.
here.
Come on in,
I
Rowan.
think we had commented
please.
earlier that we hadn't seen very much, or really any black corals today, and here's our first one.
Understood. 30 meters, bearing 245, speed decimal 2.
with a cutthroat
Yeah,
eel
what's the
swimming through.
purplish thing just in front of it?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Pilot, this is watch one.
Go ahead.
Yeah, if we could just take a zoom there at the bottom of that, the coral on the left. Yeah, right.
Fluffy on the left.
Yeah, fluffy on the left. Great,
camera
thanks.
name rolling.
Rachel Bassett is saying it's the purple Acanthogorgia, so that's cool.
Oh.
ROV nav bridge, move initiated.
That's great.
Right, if you can get
Oh,
it
it looks
tight,
like
go
a little
for it.
squat lobster on the stylaster coral on the upper left of the scene. There it is.
Yeah, that's great. So here you can really clearly see that the
Out of
polyps
focus.
are thin and tall, and they really stand out from the branch. You know, the branch is not thick enough for the polyp to retract into. And the skeleton itself is kind of dark. So kind of a classic Acanthogorgia appearance. And Rachel was just pointing out that just in front and to its right is the yellow Acanthogorgia that we saw earlier.
Wow, that's a great comparison having them side by side.
These are different species, but I don't know that for certain. We do know that
Way away from it.
some of the other octocorals, Leptogorgia,
partial.
for example, and some of the Paramaricia, you can have both purple and yellow color colonies in the same species.
Hey,
In
now,
fact, you can have
what's the
some that
surface
have
current
both
right
purple and yellow on the same colony. We did collect a
Surface current,
purple
that's what I was just
Acanthogorgia like
saying
that
this morning.
during
Bring it up.
EX1811, the Gulf of Mexico cruise
Last I checked, it was about
in
8 degrees,
December,
2.4.
basically on the west side of the Florida Peninsula,
Huh.
around the same depth even.
So that's 10 degrees, 2.2.
Quite a beautiful scene
Okay.
here.
Yeah, let's frame it and get lasers, and then we'll move on.
And one eel for good measure. Interesting sponge there at the base of the black coral.
Yeah. We can kill lasers.
And we have a live event
Okay,
that's happening here on the ship now,
let's do
so you
one
might
still
hear a
here.
little cross chatter here, but
And Washley's, just a heads up, we just did about 500 meters of RV travel.
roger that. Roger that. Thanks, Nav.
Let's go full wide.
And we've now gone 500 meters of horizontal distance on our transects during this dive so far. We have about 45 minutes left in the dive, and we're going to be traversing back and forth across the top of this knoll, which definitely seems to be a very interesting spot with lots and lots of variety and diversity of corals. Really steep slope here with nothing but coral rubble and maybe a couple little sponges. And an octocoral or two.
A little hot here, Roland.
Sorry, pilot.
That's all right. You're juggling a lot of things right now.
We're going to start climbing this steep wall, and looks like another little plumerella on the left side. Several octocorals here.
How's that ship move?
Looks like
Look at
it's
this little white
just
coral
near
right
the
here.
end. A couple more meters.
Right.
With a stylaster right in the center of the screen. That's a hydrocoral, kind of like fire coral. Hopefully nobody's too familiar with that.
That hurts.
ROV nav, this is bridge, move complete.
It's really hot in here again. Just
And
don't know.
Andrew Quattrini thought that those were Plumerella, some of the small white feathery looking octocorals we just saw. Looks like a glass sponge right in the center. Another stylaster. And we're at a depth of 725 meters. We started at 790 meters on this dive, so we've been climbing steadily all day here on this complex feature. Kind of came up
All right,
to a
Pat,
shoulder
are you
of
ready
it
for
and
a move
traversed
a
over.
little more south?
And now we're
Yeah,
up towards the
definitely.
top of this
Great. Do
feature.
you want to move maybe 200, 205?
Let me line up on it real quick. I'll let you know.
Copy. Straight south will probably be a little too close with our path up. So I'd prefer to cheat a little west if possible.
That's fine.
Coming up. I'm about on 200 right here. We could, based on the bottom, go a little bit sharper if you want. But
Sharper
I'm,
which direction?
closer to south, but I'm fine with anything.
I'd like to cheat more west if
Okay.
possible.
200?
So yeah, at least 200 if that's all right.
Let's do it.
All right, great. I'll put a move in 30 meters for 200 degrees.
Go ahead, Nav. Sure am. Roger, that is 30 meters, bearing 200 at decimal 2 knots.
Good copy.
Okay, we got another octocoral or a dozen or so coming up here.
ROV Nav's bridge, move initiated.
Yeah, we're having a discussion on the chat that all of these IDs that we give on the fly here while we're getting just video shots, etc., they're all somewhat tentative. We can't be really certain about IDs until we take a closer look, either looking at digital stills that are taken from the video, or even better, when we actually have a sample. And as you can tell if you've watched these dives, we don't really have a way to sample the fishes, so those IDs are even more tentative.
Let's do a partial here.
And then there's so many octocorals that there's no way we can collect one of each. So, ooh, this is an interesting one. We have another chrysogorgon on the right, I think, and then a bottlebrush type on the left with a crinoid sitting on top.
Is that a stocked crinoid with a bunch of
Oh yeah,
stuff growing on it?
yeah. The pilot actually is he knows the fauna better than me, and suggested that this might be a stocked crinoid with some hydroids or something. Or no, it does look like an octocoral. I'm all confused. If anybody has a good idea on this, please let me know.
I think the pilots are showing that we're kind of superfluous.
I would not
So
go that
true.
far.
Far, far from it.
It's a whole lot lot of hydroids growing on the side of it.
Oh, it is hydroids, think?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And there was a little octocoral off to its right.
This just shows how much you guys have taught us over the years.
Thanks, Roland.
Yeah, there's the bushy one on the right there, now in center. That looks like another small chrysogorgid.
Yeah, I agree. This one doesn't look quite as bottle brush shaped, does it?
No, it's quite a bit smaller. Not seeing any associates in it yet, but they're so hard to distinguish because they blend in so well.
Video's clear.
Just trying to get a shot. All right, come on out. We're getting tossed all over the place here. Let's come wide.
Yeah, we're in a pretty swift current, so it's hard to get a still zoom on that. But I think we got enough of a look to at least be able to tell that it's a chrysogorgid. We're climbing up this and towards the south, so we're going to go up and over the top in a bit. Oh yeah, here's a sea star with 8 legs or so, maybe like the one that we saw previously.
You want it?
Hold on, let me get set up a little bit here. Can you tilt down a little bit, Andy?
Sure.
Alright, come on in, Roland.
And a shrimp to the upper right. But that does look like the one we saw previously. Early on in the dive, many hours ago.
Okay, come in tight if you have it.
It looks like a crinoid right in front.
Is that Max?
That is.
Quite a beauty. Wow. These are Echinodermata, spiny skinned, and you can probably see why by this nice close-up zoom here. It's kind of hard to believe that all that coral skeleton can remain at that really steep angle and not just tumble down the hill.
90 right now.
Video's clear.
ROV nav bridge, move is complete.
Let's get lasers real quick.
What are you getting? Repeat, pilot.
I'm getting lasers.
Oh.
Okay, coming out.
So those lasers are 10 centimeters apart. Gives you an idea about the size
Yeah,
of that sea star.
lasers.
Hi, this is Chris Ma.
Hi, Chris Ma. Can you tell us about that sea star?
Oh, definitely sea star.
Yay!
Full asteroid, and so that's a sun, as the name implies. That's a sun star, and I can even further. That's definitely Solaster.
Okay.
And I'm trying to ascertain. 6, 7, 8. Okay. There are 2 species that occur in this area, Solaster caribeus and Solaster notophrynus. This, to me, looks more like Solaster caribeus. And so this has been a species that's been known for a while, but again, one of these animals that, although we know from specimens, we really don't know that much about its feeding habits, probably on whatever sort of echinoderms that happen, or other sort of meaty animals that happen to be living nearby. Other species in the genus Solaster feed on other sea stars but also on sea cucumbers and
Pilot ship stops. So
just about anything that is slow enough to be caught by one of these animals. They're fairly important predators in the grand scheme of things, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if we happen to come upon one of those feeding on something later on that that was not simply like coral or hydroids or something sort of that doesn't move. So definitely an interesting one. That one, if it's also Notophrynus, it might also be very widely distributed, since some of those go all the way down to the South Atlantic. But Solaster is a genus that occurs in cold water settings all around the world, from the Arctic to the Antarctic. So one could easily see a sun star such as that in sub-Antarctic water or up in the North Pacific, which is where I've come to know them. So, but looks like you're on to coral now, so I'll let you guys get on to it.
Well, great. Thanks so much, Chris. It's so interesting to hear about these genera that have such wide distributions. It's kind of a mystery.
Well, I could easily go on for a little while longer about that.
Yeah.
But I'll let you get to your other business. So.
Well, great. Thanks so much, Chris, for joining us.
Thank you for stopping and taking a shot of the animal.
And that coral that we just looked at was Analopsamia profunda, and it's often yellow like that. So it will be white sometimes and yellow sometimes.
Do a snap in here. We got a sea star and.
Oh yeah, we have a. I don't know if that's a goniaster again, and then a pancake urchin. And again, a really, really steep pile of this coral rubble.
Sun back pretty quick.
A sponge and several different octocorals.
Yeah,
other sponge species.
Right. Yep.
We've got a lot of current through here, as you can tell by all the octocorals blowing in the current.
All right, let's push on here.
And Eric Cortez says that it's a different species of Analopsamia that's yellow. I think we'll probably need to revisit that with some genetic data in the near future. Could very well be. And now we're back to more Lophelia. And lots of sponges here.
Chris again.
Hello, Chris.
Hey, I think I probably missed it, but you guys, right after I hung up, you guys went and looked at an orange goniasterid.
Yes.
Sort of with really triangular arms.
Right.
The next time you guys have opportunity, if you could sort of linger on imaging the surface of that animal, or if it happens to be feeding on something that is a desirable collectible,
do another bump
then
west,
that's definitely one that I would welcome seeing close up.
Okay, we will definitely do that. We saw several early on in the dive. I don't know if we saw that color and one that was more yellow.
Yeah,
and
ship
so there might
The
be.
yellow ones are.
rotate.
Oh, I was just going to say you might want to look back at the video from early on in the dive also, but.
Yeah, no, I've been looking at them, and just to clarify, so the yellow ones that are more kind of cookie shaped, those are things that I'm familiar with.
Oh, okay.
But the ones that the one you just passed has it's more of a distinctly orange color, and it has triangular arms that narrow at the tip.
I'd like to put
and
another move
they
in.
almost seem like they're covered with little
about 200.
and again, the color might be the easiest way to distinguish them, and the fact that the arms narrow rather than than the animal simply being a large cookie-shaped
Well, we'll take us
critter.
down slow for a little
I know
bit.
goni asteroids look very similar
Everybody's
to
happy
people.
with that, then
Yeah, that's what they want. If so, as
But
long as they're comfortable with
these
it.
are
Oh, yeah.
usually a darker
All right,
orange
up
color.
ahead, 20 meters,
And they're the ones
200.
that you observed feeding on
gonna
a
line back up on
stylasterid.
200,
And so those are the
where I'm
ones
at.
that I'm specifically interested in.
Okay.
So
Bridge, go ahead.
I honestly, I'm not even sure if
Go ahead.
I had expressed the distinction earlier to you or to the other
Roger, that is
lead.
To Leslie, yeah.
So I apologize, or if it was even someone else. But
No.
but just generally speaking, darker color, narrower arm.
Okay, great. We'll keep an eye out. And I think I was at lunch when you called in the first time, so I didn't hear that.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, no, and I certainly understand the difficulty of trying to keep track of, I mean, something that was seen, and then somebody is away at lunch, and there's and Stephanie is helping with you as well. So
right.
I certainly understand how complicated it can get. So that's fine. But at this point, lingering and taking a better shot would be great, and then maybe we can work up to something once I have a better idea of what it is. So because I know today you guys are very coral heavy with many different interesting scleractinians and Porifera, target taxa and such. So.
Yeah, we have a lot of things to look at, but it's been great to see sea stars fairly regularly as we've been going along on the dive today. So we'll keep our eyes peeled.
Yeah, well, there was one on a stylasterid, so perhaps there will be a good win-win situation. Anyway, thanks again. I appreciate your moment of time.
Great, thanks so much, Chris.
Thanks again. Bye-bye.
You can tell that we're climbing the steepest part of this top of the feature now. And we have a lot of coral cover. And, here's another madrepora we're coming up to. Lower left, it's the orange stony coral. And we've seen quite a bit more of this on this mound today than we did yesterday at the top of the mound. Another coral hake in the bottom center.
Okay, let's do a quick zoom here, Rowan. Let's do a quick zoom here.
A rat tail on the lower left.
Pilot, what was your request?
Zoom.
Sorry, I was in the middle of zooming the production camera.
Yeah, the heading that we're on right now feels pretty good. We might experiment with coming a few degrees to the right.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, that's correct. We're pretty much bow into the
Several
forces right now.
anthomastus
We
here.
could split them a little better if we came
red,
like 5
kind of
degrees
ball-like
to the right, 5
octocorals that we've seen a bunch of.
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay.
Actually, that could be pseudoanthomastus. And then duva, which is the soft pinkish brown coral. Lots of that here.
It's a very cool instrument. Basically, it's about 3 feet tall on the vehicle. It's got about a 6-foot reach. And we actually have a miniature version of that arm in the control room that sits in front of the pilot. And when we turn on our hydraulic systems, we manipulate that small version in the control room, and all the motion is mimicked by the actual arm of the vehicle.
And yeah, pilots, be aware, we were down to about 150 meters of layback, and now we're back to like 200.
Ooh. Yeah, the south side of this sees a lot more current. When we're on the north side, we're shaded from it a little bit.
Yeah.
So I've been going up and down quite a bit.
So I guess you can think of the Deep Discoverer as
great.
a tool. It's a platform that we can add sensors to and remove sensors from. And so, for instance, we have right now a CTD, a conductivity, temperature, and depth sensor that also has integrated OR
ROV nav bridge, move complete.
potential, which will measure water properties
The pilots, that's the ship move.
I don't know what just swam by you through your light bulb, but it was pretty big. There it goes.
Okay, what's the direction of this move?
200. It looks like Sirius has only moved maybe 5 meters now.
Yeah, now it's like head on into the current.
Yeah.
Moves are gonna have to be bigger.
Interesting dark coloration here coming up. Really, really steep wall
Is
here.
that dark thing?
Yep.
And again, it's amazing that the whole surface is covered with coral skeleton.
Copy.
It's
Pilots,
kind of
we
hard
put
to
another
believe it
20
can
meters
stay
up.
there and not just
Great.
roll down.
Nav bridge,
Might
go
suggest
ahead.
that there's some bit of lithification or cementing together of these coral branches. And hopefully we can get a look
Roger,
at
that
this
is 20
dark
meters, bearing 200
colored
at
thing
decimal
coming
2
up.
knots.
As a partnership with OER, and I think one of the strengths that we bring is our specializations and our diversity of specializations. So on our team we have mechanical engineers,
All right, pilots and washlays, we have about 20 minutes left in today's dive.
Yeah, come on in, video.
satellite engineers, as well as world-class video editors. And we work as a cohesive group.
RV nav bridge,
I wonder if
move
this is a
initiated.
sponge. Oh no, is it a plastic bag?
No.
No.
What is that?
I don't know what that is.
I have no idea what this is. Is it some kind of sponge?
That is definitely. That's
I think
what I was
that's
going
a-
to say.
Looks like somebody dropped some tar asphalt down here.
Alien.
Yeah, it looks like a dirty C4 today.
It's just strange, all these little holes in it.
What are you talking to us now?
There's organisms growing on it.
That's what I think.
Yeah, tar. Several people are saying this might be tar. I don't know where that would come from down here, but
We should take a
How
sample.
close can you get to this?
Well, come
Yeah,
on
it's
out.
cool how everything's growing through it.
We should
huh?
get a sample.
It is an encrusting sponge. Okay. Sponge or
We kick on
tunicate
the extra
is
lights?
Casey's guess.
Yep.
My first guess was a sponge also,
Yeah, you gotta,
because of all the holes that you see.
you
But
gotta go
it's
through me.
definitely very
Otherwise,
bizarre.
that's just real.
I've never seen anything
You
like
go
it.
ahead and turn them on. It's just gonna get blown out.
Yeah, co-pilot.
Yeah, go ahead in.
You mean Roland has to go through you?
Yes.
It's a cool shot. I've never seen that.
Scott doesn't think that the holes look like sponge ocula. If anybody has any other ideas.
Quick an image one of the spiky points.
So there's a couple of octocorals growing maybe underneath
lose the
it
fog
and
lights.
coming through.
So the Deep Discoverer and Sirius are both rated to 6,000 meters, which is approximately 3.75 miles deep. That covers about 98% of the seafloor. So we're
Pilots, would it be possible to give this black stuff a poke? We're trying to figure out what it might be.
Sure, we can try that.
and it gets significantly.
Let's see if I can get set up.
Trench, for example, is almost twice as deep as our vehicles can go.
We are moving.
Yeah, so 6,000
Are we moving?
Yep, but it might just be tar. This is what Scott said, and some others have said also.
You got
Maybe it just fell from the surface, and so we are going to try to take a little poke at it and see if we can get any more intel.